Here we're going to demo and point out the differences between a number of generic types of pickup: the single coil, active and passive humbuckers, and of course the P-90. There are many different types of pickup, but the vast majority are based around designs such as these. Their differences in performance have defined the many varying styles of guitar-based music we all know and love, and things such as magnetic strength, the composition of the coil, the DC resistance, and even the gauge of wire used in their construction will drastically affect how a pickup sounds, but whichever style you choose, it'll have a fundamental influence on your tone. This is a Stratocaster style single coil, and it's probably the most famous and widely used style of all. Most have an easily removable cover, and if we look closely at this vintage style example, we can see that the pole pieces are staggered to compensate for the differences in signal strength provided by the strings. If we grab another example of a single coil, here we've removed the outer layer to show the copper wire within. It's wound many thousands of times around the central bobbin that holds the magnetic pole pieces, and when a guitar string vibrates in that magnetic field after being plucked, the wire produces a small electric signal that's amplified by an amplifier. One characteristic of traditional single coils is that they produce a certain amount of audible buzz, which is great, but if you don't want that noise, you might want to consider a humbucker. This is a standard uncovered humbucker, based on a design whose patent was applied for in 1955 by Seth Lover, who worked at Gibson. The patent was granted in 1959, and pickups manufactured for use by Gibson during those interim 4 years had the now very collectible Patent Applied For or PAF sticker on their base. This one doesn't, it's a Seymour Duncan. The two coils have a reverse polarity, which reduces a great deal of hum that can be caused by traditional single coils. Both coils produce a magnetic field, thus increasing the pickup strength, which in turn also increases the amount of warmth and sustain to your tone. As you may have guessed, the humbucker bucks the hum and is therefore a pretty silent type of pickup, especially when compared with a traditional single coil. Versions such as active humbuckers or those with blades and ceramic magnets give a much bigger tone than vintage voiced passive units, but all will be warmer and fuller than a traditional single coil. Way back in the late 1940s, even before the concept of the humbucker was a reality, Gibson fitted their guitars with pickups such as this. If it's full like a humbucker, but buzzes a little bit like a single coil, the chances are it'll be a P-90. Technically, the P-90 is actually a single coil, although much bigger in size than those of a Stratocaster. One row of pole pieces and a wide bobbin gives a lovely middly tone that's especially cool for blues styles. Again, options are available if you don't want that single coil hum. This example is stacked, with two bobbins on top of one another. This bucks the hum in the traditional manner, but still gives a close approximation of that traditional P-90 tone. Pickups such as these are sometimes called P-100s. Of course, different pickups can be used in the same guitars to obtain different sounds, and that's where the whole subject of retrofitting comes in. This is a 52 vintage reissue Fender Tele loaded with two T-type single coils. This is a Squier Tele Custom loaded with humbuckers. And this is also a Squier Tele, a Custom 2, loaded with P-90s. We'll play each one in turn to demonstrate the subtle differences in tone these pickups can produce. For a cool trick that was immortalised by Jimi Hendrix, grab your Strat and as quickly as you can, waggle the switch backwards and forwards while you're playing. The trick is that you need to also fret notes with your left hand, so use hammer-ons and pull-offs and open strings to get this sort of effect. It works on any type of guitar with a blade style selector and it sounds pretty cool.